Hey everybody, it's Stank Weasel. Welcome back to the channel. We have some big updates coming our way for Phasmophobia. The Steam branch for the builds just got updated today, and there's some big changes and fixes coming our way. So I just wanted to go ahead and bring that to your attention now so that you can go ahead and get prepared. Start changing your playstyle, guys, because we're no longer temp gun warriors. Alright, some of the big changes that are coming our way is there's now going to be a voice sensitivity slider in the audio options. So no longer will it just be hot mics for everybody. You can adjust that based off of your current and personal configuration. Additionally, the text on the spirit box will read what the response said, so no longer guessing what that little radio is going to be screaming at us. There's now a copy button for the server code. So if you have your code hidden for whatever reason, whether you're streaming or recording, you can now copy, and then they've also added the ability to paste those passwords from the clipboard as well. So we don't have to keep the information in Discord and have to alt-tab and interrupt what you're doing, so your workflow should be easier. Additionally, there's a big change to the server side code, and they've upgraded the protocol that's being used, so it should fix out a lot of the timeout and disconnects that occur, especially during loading. And a lot of the voice chat issues seem to be resolved as well from when we were playing the beta build. Additionally, if your voice recognition stops working, the spirit box will just start speaking on its own. So it will detect if you have broken voice, and then it will just go ahead and say something for you. The EMF reader, its pitch has been lowered, so it's no longer just going to be in your ear the whole time like. So you have the opportunity to actually have to listen for it. Its radius hasn't changed from what we can tell so far, but the sound volume certainly has. So you really kind of got to pay attention to it. The brightness of all the lights on the main menu have changed, so that's kind of quality of life. Big thing here though is that ghostwriting now counts for photo evidence. So take a picture of that book. It counts for your ghost evidence and your encounter objectives. And the lobby list rooms, whenever you're joining a public game, is no longer going to be full of pages and pages of full or empty rooms anymore. It's only going to show actually active games that you can join that have slots for a player. Let's see what else is going on here. Lower the amount of sanity that you lose during a ghost event, which means the ghosts are going to be more frequent and they're going to be more active, and we'll get to that here in a minute. Big change here for gameplay and kind of play style is going to be the ghost orbs and the bones and other evidence are going to spawn more closely to the middle of a room. So if there's furniture, look around those couches, look under those tables to find that chicken bone. And conversely, if you're placing video cameras, make sure you're aiming them towards the middle of the room. Use your angles similar to a first-person shooter. So you want to get that wide angle as much as you can, and then watch towards the middle of the room rather than them spawning kind of obscurely like they do now. And then the room temperature will no longer raise over time if the ghost leaves the room. Again, alluding to our topic that we're coming up on with the AI changes, the temperature will now remain, so you kind of have to hunt the ghost along its path, not a path that, or just the location that it ends up in. So big part of those nerfs that are coming to that temp gun, no longer is it just aim it at the door. The distance is shorter, it seems like the focal length is smaller, and the gradual temperature raise after a ghost leaves an area is no longer going to be there to assist us. So it's really going to be on us as the hunters and investigators during our search in order to track this thing down and try and get the information as fast as we can. Yes, aside from that, those are the major changes. The fixes, there's tons of bugs fixes. There's lots of information about where dead players couldn't use voice chat. There was fixes on university internet, fixes with timeouts and optimizations. There was spots where the ghost would get stuck on farmhouse. But from what we've experienced so far, it really seems like you're really going to notice some differences in the quality of Asylum and more so the changes in the tool set. But the big thing that needs to probably be discussed is the update that makes the ghost smarter and less predictable. So the idea here is that when a ghost spawns, no longer is it going to be a derpy thing that stands in a corner of a room and then runs back to where it was after a hunt or after a ghost event. Ghosts will now spawn kind of more dynamically and have the opportunity to wander more logically. If you think about it, a paranormal spirit or entity isn't going to just sit there and be bound to a corner or bound to a bathroom. It's going to wander around naturally. So our investigations over time and as the ghost goes through its phases, so there's the initial phase, then it starts playing with the lights, then it can start hunting, things like that we've started to identify within the community. it will now move around and logically end up in places based off of what we as players do and then what type of ghost it is. And I think the kind of the spookiest thing here is that if you run out of a room per se and you're updating your journal, but the ghost sees that you were there, the developers are now saying that the logic is going to be in place for the ghost to be able to kind of wander over and navigate to the last place that a player's been detected. So that should make things a little interesting, especially if you're just kind of the run and gun, get around the corner and try and put your objectives in kind of player. You're going to need a little bit more strategy than that, playing hide and seek with these guys going forward. So I'll drop the links in the description down below for these articles if you want to read them all the way through. We're getting semi-daily updates right now, especially on the games updates website. So if you guys have any other questions or like this video, please drop me a like. It's free to subscribe, show some support. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in game.